So this is a foundation that I had to try because Charlotte Tilbury is very popular, and I feel like I definitely have to try this foundation to compare it to all the other foundations, because I feel like a lot of people are going to try this foundation. So even though I am super late putting out this video, yeah, it just felt like a necessity that I had to try this and I have to review it. I am seeing a trend in 2022. So many makeup companies are coming out with foundations. So I felt like I obviously gotta try Charlotte Tilbury's foundation. This is not the first foundation that she has come out with yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of look up what this foundation is all about, because I myself do not know everything about this foundation. So we are going to learn about this foundation together. This foundation retails for $44. We got a handful of colors, handful of shades, which is good. This is called the Beautiful Skin Medium Coverage Liquid Foundation with hyaluronic acid, which is really good. Hyaluronic acid has a lot of moisturizing properties to it. So we're kind of going on this trend of like incorporating skincare with foundation. So the features of this foundation is that it is supposed to be long wearing, medium coverage, have a natural finish. It says it's best for dry, combo, and normal skin, so oily skin probably not so much. It's also cruelty free. It should have a natural glow, be buildable, hydrate, smooth, blur pores, and brighten skin. All right, so let's see if it does all that. Okay, this is what it looks like. And this contains 30 milliliters or 1 fluid ounce. So it is the same size as all the other foundations out there. Whoa. I don't know if, let me see what the applicator looks like. Oh yeah, okay. I had screwed it off, so the whole thing came off like this. But you are just supposed to lift it. That was interesting. All right, let's see how much comes out with just one pump. Very small amount, quite liquidy, so I can definitely see why this is not recommended for oily skin. This is probably one of the most oily foundations I've seen so far this year. And I'm going to just use my fingers to apply it to this side. And if anything, the tip says to start with the cheek and then blend it outward. I didn't even see if this foundation matched me. I didn't check first. Hopefully I got a good shade. Sephora tends to match me really well when I tell it what other foundation colors I am. Okay. Wow. I actually really like that. So there's nothing special about the consistency or about the way it feels. I've tried a lot of other foundations that feel like this. It feels a little bit like skincare, literally like it just took the skincare, for example, it took the moisturizer and it took some foundation and it mixed it together. That's like exactly what it feels like. Yeah, super lightweight. I still have like a little bit left on my hands, but so far I am really liking that, like a lot. I haven't worn foundation in probably like 2 weeks, it feels like, so it's nice to be back here trying foundation and to see my face look a little bit more glowy and a little bit more even tone is really nice. You can see here on my eyes right here, it covered up a little bit of this pigmentation here. I didn't put too much underneath my eyes. Actually, I'm going to use the rest of this on my hand and apply it underneath the eyes, and you can see it's covering up the darkness underneath my eyes. Wow. It's hard for me to be impressed with a foundation as soon as I put it on, but this one, I don't know if it's because I haven't been wearing foundation in like 2 weeks, but I'm very impressed with how this looks upon first application. Okay, the cheeks feel a little dewy, literally like you just put moisturizer on. So overall, I'm really liking this side, and I love how I was just able to use my fingers. This definitely is going to be that like no makeup look. This, I think, out of all of the foundations I've tried so far, and if you are curious, all you gotta do is check my channel to see what foundations I've tried in 2022. I think this one, I forgot where I was going with that. Oh yeah, this one looks the most skin-like to me. Like, it genuinely looks like this is 100% my skin, and I have no foundation on. I've been saying this, a lot of foundations, they take time to look perfect, and I'm sure this one will look better as the day goes by, but this one to me just looks perfect upon application, which I absolutely love. I would honestly feel comfortable using this foundation for filming, but I probably won't. This is a foundation I will use if I'm just hanging out with friends, or if I want it to feel like I'm not wearing foundation, because it doesn't have that like jazz to it. So for that, like, if I wanted more jazz, if I wanted like more radiance and luminosity, I definitely go for another foundation, something to make my skin look even smoother. This is just like, I feel like this is a foundation I would wear if I'm like going to school or if I'm going to work. I don't want it to look like I'm wearing foundation, but I do want to even out my complexion and remove the darkness around my eyes or anywhere on my face. Okay, on the other side, I'm going to be using my beauty sponge. Again, just doing one pump. And just blending it outwards. And it feels so lightweight too, like I can hardly feel it on my skin. Wow. I love this foundation. We got a perfect color match. I got mine in the shade 9 Neutral. I love this. It's also super travel friendly. This is going to fit really, really nicely into my makeup bag, and it's also, once it starts to once I start to lose some of the product, it will get smaller as well. So super travel friendly. I love this. I think this is definitely one of my favorite foundations of 2022. Let's check to see if it is blurring my pores. Definitely, yeah. Wow. It's definitely blurring my pores. I'll try to zoom in. Okay, so we've got blurring pores, smoothing the skin. I don't know so much about brightening. I don't see a huge like brightening thing in this foundation. And hydrating, yes, but surprisingly, it doesn't feel too hydrating. Like I said, I barely feel it on my face, but I don't feel worried that this is going to make me oily later on in the day, even though right now my skin, like I said, I haven't played with makeup in like 2 weeks, so currently I'm not quite sure of the condition of my skin. If anything, right now it's just normal, not dry, not oily, just normal. But 2 weeks ago I was having an issue with like slightly oily skin, so we're definitely going to come back later and see if I start to pick up any oil, like especially around the T-zone area. I would look at this as more like a tinted moisturizer. I don't know why it's not called a tinted moisturizer. It's called a liquid foundation. To me, this personally feels exactly 100% like a tinted moisturizer, and it just got really bright in here. Oh, the sun's going down. Okay. If I wasn't a YouTuber, I would definitely pick this up. So I went ahead and I took a picture in front of my window. I really like the way that looks. I looked at some mirrors inside of my room and I really liked it, the way that it looks. When I look at it in front of the mirror, it honestly looks like it's a little mixture of foundation and I put powder on top. I don't know how that is because this is supposed to be a hydrating foundation. But again, the way it feels on my face, it does not feel oily. It doesn't feel heavy. It feels very light, almost like I don't feel it at all. Also, you could see that even with using my fingers and the beauty sponge, they kind of look the same. I feel like this side looks a little bit better and also a little bit brighter than this side, but that's like me really looking at it. Apart from that, like you can hardly tell which side that I used. So, ooh, yeah, I keep twisting it off. You're supposed to just pull it off. That's gonna be a headache down the line. I'm gonna just, yeah, I'm gonna use my fingers to do this. Ooh. Okay, I'm seeing something here. It doesn't feel heavy, doesn't feel too moisturizing, too, like oily, but it's starting to feel more dewy, like a little tacky. And I am starting to see this build up into a foundation. So I'm happy that I did do 2 layers. First layer, tinted moisturizer. Second layer, we're looking at like a light coverage foundation. And I'm pretty sure with the third layer, that's where the medium coverage foundation is going to come in. I'm not going to do 3 layers, but I just want to put it out there. If you are looking for that medium coverage foundation look, then you might want to do 3 layers. And also with the second layer, the texture is starting to feel a little bit nicer and like more satiny, but it still has that tackiness. It's a little bit more tacky, but feels satiny at the same time. And I am starting to see it brighten up the face a little bit more too. So yeah, definitely this is a buildable foundation, and I actually used 1 full pump on one side of my face. So a full pump for my entire face, probably not enough in my opinion. So if you are trying out this foundation, I do highly recommend to consider building it up to get that look that you're going for. With that extra layer, we're already seeing a difference, a little bit more coverage, starting to look more like foundation, and I do like it. I actually am starting to feel it a little bit more on my face. But anyways, we are going to come back later and see how this foundation holds up. Okay, we are about 4 hours in, and I have to say I love this foundation. The first thing that I'm noticing is that it did start to turn more into a foundation on both sides, even the side with just 1 layer and then the side that I put more product on. This side does look a little bit more luminous now that I'm looking at it on camera. But yeah, it did start to have this more type of foundation look as the day progressed. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and I do like that. So I kind of take it back when I said that I only see this as a tinted moisturizer. I can 100% see this also as a foundation. So that was the biggest thing that I wanted to mention. Overall, I am so happy with this foundation. I am not getting oily. I do, however, feel it on my face. I feel it more than I did when I first applied it. The color looks great. The way it looks, it's just, overall, it's a really good product. I enjoy it. I don't necessarily feel like it started to look better as the day progressed. The biggest thing that I noticed is that it just started to look more like a foundation as opposed to a tinted moisturizer. Again, you know, it didn't feel like, I feel like almost people with oily skin can wear this, especially if you just do 1 layer. You know, my nose is starting to like have that tingling sensation, like there are going to be some oils that seeps through, but it's already been 4 hours, no oil or anything like that. Even as I touch it, it's not oily whatsoever. So I don't know, I'm liking it, and I think that the oily, I don't know, it's hydrating, but it doesn't feel too hydrating compared to some other foundations I've tried. Overall, I really like it. This is definitely a foundation I'm going to continue to try. I still don't think it is better than like my Fenty foundation, and I think because it's like missing out on more of that, like, I guess like the luminosity, I don't know, or maybe if I put another layer it might be a little bit better, but overall I don't really think it's worth $44 for that price point. I think there are way better foundations out there, but it also kind of depends on what you're looking for. If you genuinely are looking for that skin-like finish, then you might really like this one, because with some other foundations that are $44, they might not make it look so skin-like. However, if you are looking for a skin-like finish, there are some other nicer foundations out there, but I do know that they are a little bit pricier. Another, I would say, con is that, like I said, I am starting to feel it a little bit more, and I know that there are some other foundations that have that skin-like finish and you genuinely like cannot feel it on your face. So when I'm comparing it, you know, with other foundations, I don't think this is the best foundation. I don't think it's the best foundation that I've tried. I think it's roughly a little bit overpriced, but it nonetheless is still a great foundation, amazing at making your skin look very skin-like, very easy to apply. You do not have to use a lot, of course, if you don't have to deal with like a lot of blemishes or anything like that. I don't have any dry patches on my face, so I don't necessarily know how it will work if your skin is dry. Like I said, my skin is more on the normal side. I had like a little kind of pimple blemish here. It covered it, the pigment of it covered it a little bit, but you definitely can see it. So I feel like even if I built up the layer, you still would see like a pimple there, but it does a really good job at evening out the skin tone and hiding any like deep pigmentation. So if you have scars and stuff like that, I think it would work okay. But if you've got like the bumps and the pimples and stuff like that, you might see it peek through. So I feel like this is more recommended for people who don't need so much coverage. It does say medium coverage, and I absolutely agree. I do not see this being a full coverage, and again, I think if you start piling it up, you might start to get oily. So far, like I said, I am really liking it. I really love this foundation. I'm happy to have it. My only con is I think it might be just a little bit overpriced.
You could be my honeybee,